Hi, I'm Mike Sargent, and this is Arise on Screen.
I ordered a pimped-out party bus with a stripper pole in it. Do we look like a group of guys who's gonna roll to a spot or something like this?
As a matter of fact, you do.
What could go wrong when bridesmaids and the groomsmen are both looking for trouble in Vegas? Everything. Kevin Hart, Regina Hall, Gabrielle Union, and an all-star cast are back for a wedding in Think Like a Man 2.
I will give you the tools to get any women from any social class.
Straight from the Cannes Film Festival, does social networking bring us closer together or drive us further apart? Writer, director, and actor Yassine Azzouz answers that question in his short film, Guru.
The problem is that we're trying to market ourselves. We forgot how life can be nice without our computers.
They had a sound nobody had ever heard, and radio just couldn't get enough of it. Jersey Boys, the Tony Award-winning play, comes to movie theaters this week, directed by Oscar winner Clint Eastwood. All this and more on Arise on Screen. Hello, I'm Mike Sargent, and welcome to Arise on Screen, your global home for films both on screen and behind the scenes. But let's get to it first with this week's box office winners. Edge of Tomorrow tops the box office this week, followed by Chef, 50 to 1, 22 Jump Street, and How to Train Your Dragon 2 rounds out the number 5 spot. And in movie news.
Great to have you back. No better place to be.
In The Expendables 3, 50-year-old action star Wesley Snipes returns to theaters in his first role since serving time for tax evasion and leaving jail in 2013. Snipes joins old-school action icons Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mel Gibson, and an injury-free Harrison Ford in Sly Stallone's blockbuster Renegade franchise. The Expendables 3 comes out later this summer, but the full trailer is out now.
Watch this.
Abigail Breslin is all grown up and kicking butt and taking names in her new film, Final Girl. Breslin is a teenager who appears helpless but turns the table on a group of cool guys at school when she stands up for herself and fights back. Little did they know that Little Miss Sunshine is trained to kill.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Almost 20 years after being cast as James Bond, Brosnan is back in a new action film, The November Man. As a former spy, he faces off with a former student who is now on the wrong side of the law. Pierce Brosnan's new film, The November Man, hits theaters in August.
You don't mess with the law!
In the new comedy, Let's Be Cops, Jake Johnson and Damon Wayans Jr. find that there are a lot of perks that come along with pretending to be cops. But with the perks come the problems, and all hell breaks loose. Let's Be Cops hits theaters on August 13th.
Back in the early days, we really did look forward to a day where video games would be interactive movies.
And finally, Video Games, the movie, could earn big dollars if gamers flock to the box office. The documentary chronicles the evolution of the multi-billion-dollar video gaming industry and gives us a peek at what the gaming future holds. Video Games, the movie, opens in the U.S. and Canada on July 15th. And in festival news, the American Black Film Festival opens in New York City for the first time this week. The 17-year-old festival, featuring the best in independent black cinema, began in Acapulco and helped launch the careers of producers like Rob Hardy, the man behind the current hit, Think Like a Man 2. Today, I'm joined by entertainment journalist and film critic from Italy, Maria Barberi, and Julian Roman of Movie.com. Welcome, both of you. But before we get to our movie reviews, I want to talk about the fact that, okay, we know The Expendables 3 is coming out. Harrison Ford, 71, just hurt himself. When are you too old to be an action hero. What do you think, Julian?
I think these guys are all too old to be action heroes, to be honest with you. I mean, you've got like the greased back, dyed black hair, you know, the roided out kind of like pumped up figures. I think there's a point in time where some new actors have to come and take over the reins, you know, shooting and killing people.
And what do you think?
Yeah, it might be more credible, but at the same time, why not? Why an older guy cannot be a hero?
Ass?
Yes, why not?
So you're a Liam Neeson fan? You think he's a good action hero?
I liked him better before, but I think he's doing well as well.
You think he's credible? Yeah. Even at 61, you believe he's going to be beating people up?
If he's trained, why not?
Okay.
I mean, an actor should be able to do whatever comes and he's willing to do.
Well, I have to say, as you get older, as I'm getting older, I don't mind seeing some of these heroes back on screen, and I think that's the appeal, because a lot of people grew up watching Schwarzenegger, Stallone, you know, Pierce Brosnan, and the fact that they're old doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, Pierce Brosnan is going to be in Expendables 4, as well as Hulk Hogan.
I can't even imagine that. I mean, these guys are great actors. We're not taking anything away from their acting talent, but I mean, the physical part of it, I mean, Harrison Ford got injured. Now I think they shut down for 8 weeks. Well, the Millennium Falcon door
fell on him. I mean, you know.
Good point.
We will be back to talk more movies here on Arise on Screen.
This is your bachelor party. Next 24 hours, the boys will be with the boys.
And the girls with the girls.
Coming up, all the couples are back for A Wedding in Las Vegas, the hilarious relationship comedy sequel, Think Like a Man 2, starring Kevin Hart, Taraji P. Henson, Megan Good, and Michael Ealy, hits theaters this week.
You're rolling with the pros.
Let's go.
Our review next on Arise on Screen.
One of my favorite moments on the show was interviewing the author Taya Selassie. She wrote the New York Times bestseller Ghana Must Go, and she actually coined the phrase Afropolitan. And I feel like in part what this show speaks to is the Afropolitan audience. They're African, they're traveled, they're cosmopolitan, they're interested in the diaspora. That's what we deliver here, and Taya in many ways was the perfect embodiment of what I want our viewer to represent.
I don't know why women can't have just as much fun as men. But if women have fun.
You're a horse.
Did she just call us horse?
Now, fortunately, I don't have to worry about all that behavior with you, Candace. You're much too old for that. Much too old.
Damn. I heard you the first.
Think Like a Man 2 is a sequel to 2012's romantic comedy hit, Think Like a Man. It's inspired by the best-selling relationship book by Steve Harvey. When talking about it, Kevin Hart believes the movie has something for everybody.
I would tell people to go see Think Like a Man 2 because it's a universal movie. I say that because it appeals to everybody, regardless of race, shape, or size. It's a movie that you can not only understand, but relate to.
Welcome back to Arise on Screen. With me in the studio, film critics Julian Roman and Marie Barberi. So, first of all, I have to say, Think Like a Man, the first movie, I thought was much better than I expected. I thought they were, in many ways, true to the material. It actually had something to say about relationships. They were able to work animation in there. They gave a historical context. But this one could be called Think Like a Movie Studio, because I think it's just a sequel. It doesn't really have anything to say, and it doesn't bring anything new to the table in the comedy genre. Now, you kind of felt the same way. As a matter of fact, you thought it was pretty cliche-ridden, and it was exactly what you expected, Julian.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Mike. And what happened is Kevin Hart, who was kind of an ancillary character in the first film, became a big star in the past 2 years, and now he's the primary character of this movie. And he's really over the top, and all the good ensemble acting and romantic comedy is kind of falling by the wayside, and it's just not entertaining. It's very disappointing, actually.
Well, I thought it was entertaining. Now, Maria, on the other hand, you felt that both Kevin Hart was too loud and a little bit obnoxious, but you felt towards the end, the second half of the movie, it became less cliche-ridden, and you were a little more surprised by the story.
Yeah, it became less predictable. It gave few story surprises. But yet, I always thought that Kevin Hart's performance was too energetic, so to speak.
But you felt that maybe that the director chose this because...
Maybe to compensate, let's say, the other actors' performances, which I found a bit low-key, let's say. But yeah.
You don't think it was a good choice?
No, it didn't balance. Anyway.
Didn't balance. Well, the other thing that I thought, and you'd mentioned this too, that where the first movie was a little more true to the material, that this had nothing to say about relationships.
Nothing to say. The first one had a meaning. It wanted to give lessons about how a relationship should work. But this one, no, it follows more cliches. A Wedding in Las Vegas is something we all have seen in many movies.
I thought it was like a pastiche of Bridesmaids, which, you know, where you see the girls getting into trouble, and then the worst hangovers, not even the first one, like Hangover 2 and 3, where, like you said, where they took what was a funny character, and in that movie it was Kim Jong, and made him center stage. It was just too much. Too much of a good thing is too much.
Well, it's not a good thing here, it's a bad thing.
It is
a bad thing. Kevin Hart, I'm glad he's very successful, but his personality is really overbearing in this film, and all the good couple stuff is gone. It's just him like rah, 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 going crazy, so I did not enjoy it.
Well, I think the next film is very, very different. Our next film is a film called Rover. It stars Guy Pearce in a stark dystopian future set in Australia after the collapse of Western civilization.
Come on. Turn the car around! We're not turning around, he's gone! What do you mean he's gone? He's my brother!
Now, you see, this is a movie. Now, I like end-of-the-world movies. I'm a sucker for an end-of-the-world movie, post-apocalyptic, anything. I'm always down. And I completely bought the premise that collapse of Western civilization having to do with something financial. I bought that, and everything's in disarray. But for me, what didn't work about this movie, now, I like the music, I like the cinematography, the desaturated color, but I need more meat on the bone for me for a story, and I think you agree with me with that, Julian, and you too, Maria, that it didn't have much character development, and there's very little exposition, so without giving away, the whole story is about him being driven for some reason to get his car back, and we don't really know why. Now, Maria, though, for you, though, you found it immersive, all the music and the cinematography and whatnot.
That helped a lot. The cinematography, the sound score, for sure. Although there was a little bit of a flow.
That sequence in the middle.
Yeah, with an
R&B scene.
Yeah.
That didn't work for you.
No, that was silly. But yeah, it's a shame because I think there were very interesting ideas to be developed. And it's a shame for the pacing, which didn't involve my attention enough.
Well, you found it, but now you were immersed. You said you found the whole thing immersive, but you weren't bored.
I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, it's probably the bleakest, grimmest film I've seen this year so far. Okay. This is not the feel-good movie of the year. This is the feel-bad movie of the year. And I agree, there is a lack of exposition because it kind of drops you in a story, but doesn't tell you how they got there. I mean, they're dark times, it's anarchy, but why? And that's the failure, but everything else I think is really immersive.
Well, I thought it was immersive too, and I didn't need to know how we got there, but I wanted a little more of how is the world working now? Like, you know, how do we get food? How you know, what is the exchange? There are just a lot of things that were left out for me. And I liked Guy Pearce's performance, and especially Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
I thought he was really coming away from the kind of work that he's been doing. Did you enjoy the performances as well?
Yeah, a bit less than many other people, because as I think I had some prejudices about Pattinson's performance. Yet I understand.
You thought it was too mannered, or? No,
I understand that for him it was a big opportunity to
change.
Yeah, to show more. Yeah.
Well, I agree. I think it's not a film for everybody. I can't see it doing very well at the box office. It's interesting, but not interesting enough. Well, we will be back to talk some more movies here on Our Eyes on Screen.
The purely physical appearance of a man is almost irrelevant unless he is horribly ugly or outrageously attractive.
Up next, from our recent trip to France, the country of love, what impact does social media have on mating? A new film called Guru will explain. We talk to Yassine Azzouz, the writer, co-director, and star of the Cannes short film Next, here on Our Eyes on Screen.
She only cares about the value of the life he has constructed around himself.